Welcome into the crypto bunker. Today, I want to show you guys this chart. Actually, I'll show you a few charts, obviously, but um, these two charts look almost identical, and they're different time frames. They are different assets, but one is the silver chart from the previous high in May of 2011, and now to where we're at now. Um, Obviously 10 years later, right? 11 years later. Um, and the reason I wanted to show this is because we see this giant wedge forming on silver. And I do believe when we break officially out of this wedge at the end here, that we will see an explosive move to the upside. And my target is around $80. Um, this is the Bitcoin chart from 2018 high, 2017 high, to when we started to blow off here, when we broke out of this wedge. And I still specifically remember when I was beginning to accumulate around these levels here, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000, that we were breaking out of this wedge. And I still remember Raoul Pal talking about how bullish this massive wedge was, and looking at that and sort of talking about like that when it did explode, it would be a very rapid move. And he was right. I mean, we took off, and obviously the rest is history. We know what happened to Bitcoin after that. And I'm not necessarily saying that that will happen to silver. If it did, it would probably go to 200. I have had predictions that were, including that, but um, I just think it's interesting. I also think it's interesting how I think it's interesting how this sort of compares as well, um, to this 2008 crash, which was the last time that we were in a recession. And, we can just kind of focus in on just the silver chart because that's really what I want to highlight today. And I think that it just is interesting how um, you can, even on a time frame wise, you can say that in 2006 we were about 4 years in, maybe five years in to the bull market, maybe even six if you count it from 2000. And usually, again, precious metals bull markets last about 10 years. So we had a blow off here, and then we sort of chopped, and then we had a final, and then we had like a U-shaped, and then a dump. Um, and although we made a higher high here, which we did not do in March, I still think that it's similar. Um, and the correction that we had from top to bottom, um, would actually, I think it was about 60%. And if we had that same correction now from $30 to this, it would be about 1680. Um, I think I might actually be 40%. So don't quote me on that. But I do think it's possible that it's also weird how it's like happening at the same time frames. So we bottomed in 2008 in October, and I actually think that we could bottom here for silver in October as well. I think we could come in for one more lower low, even though I think that this could be the low here. To me, it does look like, because of this trend line, I think we want to touch that. And that really is going to come in around 1680. Um, and so I think that that's kind of what we're looking at here. And there's a lot of different comparisons we can make. But at the end of the day, I think that that is what we're looking at. And I think it's a generational buying opportunity. We have a huge, huge energy crisis on our hands here. I'm actually going to go to my Twitter and just kind of roll through some of my tweets because I do want to show you guys just a few of my ideas. And obviously, we have Bitcoin versus silver there. Um, I try to tweet that out a lot because, and then here's another example of something that I found in the charts. I mean, it's funny how it's exactly in August of 2018 compared to August of 2022, um, where we have the Ethereum chart here and we have the Bitcoin chart on top. And I do think that they're kind of very similar. We see this this whole block here, I would classify as this block, and then we have like a sideways and an up, which I would say is here. Then we have down, down, and then we have up again, which is up here. And then we have these two red candles. Um, it would be interesting if we kind of went sideways here for a few weeks and then dropped, or if we just kind of went sideways for a few weeks and then dropped. I do think we're going to fill the 1280 gap, like I've talked about before, for Ethereum, probably within the next day or two, if not tonight. Um, and so that's kind of my opinion on where we're at for Ethereum. I do think the stock market, it's possible to make a lower low, which again would not be good for crypto. I think it would make a lower low, which would be crazy. But I have said, like, worst case scenario, $400 ETH. I'm gonna probably start, just dollar cost averaging around 1280, and then I wouldn't be surprised if we keep going down double bottom maybe at 800, or um we could see that. So to 400. So the ETH BTC chart, again, this is the monthly candles. This is ugly. I mean, it's almost similar to this up here, where we could definitely spot the fact that this was a top. I do think we're going to test this trend line, which again will mean that Bitcoin will basically outperform Ethereum here by double, according to the charts. Obviously, with the merge coming, people are probably surprised that I'm saying that. I just try to read the charts, and I understand. I think that it could be a massive sell the news, sell the news type thing. So maybe that's what we're dealing with here. Um, I also want to say for this gold analysis that I did, we have basically a 10-year bull market here on top, and this is what I'm showing from 2002 to about 2011. So we kind of have like this grinding line just like down here from 2016, which was about the bottom. And then we sort of grind. We make a little bit of a pump sideways and higher high, which again I explained happened in silver as well. And I do think that these are similar patterns, even though they might not look the same. We do have these two peaks here, which is a two peaks here. And then we come down, and percentage wise, we could be looking at, well, again, one more lower low to about 1580. That's the level I want you guys to watch on gold. I personally am hoping that happens. I think that it will happen in October. I'm probably going to purchase a few ounces of gold at that time if I can afford it. And then what I think will happen is a steady grind, just like we had before. I think we're about to enter a gold and silver, basically the last leg of this bull market, which I think will end in about end of 2024, beginning of 2025, based on previous cycles. I do think we could see a blow off to about 4,500 if we had the same exact move from this bottom of about 680 to about 1750 up here. If we had that same move from 1580, we'd be looking at about $4,500 gold in around 2025. So that's a nice gain. During this time, I do expect crypto to sort of go sideways. It'll be like a bear market type of event, and that's when I'll be accumulating for the future, because I do think that crypto is the future, no matter what they're going to say during this bear market. And believe me, it could get ugly. We could have Tether being busted, which I think can happen. I have a little bit of conspiracy on that, which is that BlackRock actually just invested in Circle USD. And so because they just invested in Circle USDC, I think that that's why we saw Tornado Cash. And so, it is interesting that we see basically this happened right after BlackRock invests in it. That USDC blacklists all of these addresses that have been using Tornado Cash and potentially money laundering, potentially the Koreans using it, things like that. Again, I've said it before. I've made a video on it. You can go back and look. I think USDC will be the world reserve currency potentially. Maybe not world reserve, but I think that maybe countries that adopt the blockchain will use it. Um, and so we'll see what happens with that. And I think that that is why I think we just saw Bitfinex, um, or BitMEX, I should say, I think, or it might be Bitfinex, but it's like a derivatives exchange. They're associated with Tether. They're basically the creators of Tether. A lot of people think they pump and dump the price with this printed Tether on Bitfinex, which I think they probably do. And all of that is being investigated by our government. It was announced a couple weeks ago. It kind of went under the radar, but I do think that this again has to do with this BlackRock investment. They would not invest in USDC as a company if they didn't know or at least have some say in talking to government. They're very involved with government. They're very involved with ESG, things like that. They actually mentioned energy web tokens. That's another one to watch on this next dip, which is like making a protocol sort of on top of Polkadot. And so again, I do think that could be a huge blow up. If Tether blows up, the whole system will probably implode, and that's maybe how we could see $400 Ethereum. So again, this is just comparing Ethereum to silver, which I've done in the past. I think it's similar to the Bitcoin thing, but we can kind of see again, it's very similar the way that it sort of came up, and then we based for a long time. And so who knows, we could have that type of run in silver, I do believe. Um, this is just like a cool thing that I also discovered, which is just talking about like which month you want to buy gold and silver. It does say that August, July are probably the best times to buy, especially for silver, the end of June and also July, which you can see usually gold and silver will run during September, October, November, December. Obviously, not 2008, and that's where I think that it's different. Um, so we'll see what happens. I do think the time to buy will be the next dip. So if we make a lower low, you can quote me. Obviously, none of this is financial advice. I'm not your financial advisor. Please seek your financial advisor if you feel like you need to invest in anything. I'm not someone that you should rely on for that. But that's being said, this is what I'm doing personally on the next dip. I did just buy a large amount of silver to disclose that, but I got a really good deal on it through an affiliate, someone I met actually on Twitter, who I might be working with in the future because I really think that he does a good job. And um, and so yeah, I'll leave it at that. But again, you want to be fully positioned around before August or at the end of August. You want to be fully positioned for the fall. Potentially, crazy things happening. So just be prepared, like I always say, in other ways as well. Food, you know, all the stuff that you need to do to prepare. You can go back and look at my previous videos on how to prepare things like that, grow your own food. So yeah, hopefully you guys got something out of the video. If you did, please like, subscribe, and have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks.